So today we're going to go forward with our fundamental data types and sort of using fundamental data types. So let's open IDE and get started. So here, this was our previous project, but I'm going to create a new project. Java selected and Java 14 next. Now this is becoming pretty familiar to you guys. So I'm going to say vars2 finish. And like last time, I'm going to just build the empty project just to make sure that I don't get any errors in the IDE. So I'm going to say Shift F10 and let's hope it builds properly. Otherwise, we'll have to just restart the project. So yeah, everything builds properly. Let's hide the console window, hide the project window, just realign this, and now we are ready to get started. Okay, so in today's video, what we're going to do is we know that we can create the fundamental data types, which is byte, short, int, long, char, float, double, and boolean. We know how to create these data types when everything fits nicely, right? That is when you give it values which are integer or int literals and they fit within the range. So today we're going to talk about two other concepts. One is known as casting, which is when you actually have a variable of a larger type and you want to store its value in a variable of a smaller type. So for example, if you have an int variable, and you want to store it in a byte, how do you accomplish that? So that's one of the key things to do. And the next thing that we're going to do is, once we do that, I want to show you this concept of overflow, right? Which is when you try to force things from a larger variable type, like say int, into a smaller variable type, let's say byte. What exactly happens to the variables and how Java works with it. Okay, so just to button down one thing, in the last video I had shown you how to create a char c equals 65, right? And I said you could print it out using this. So I could say c equals plus c, and then I compile this and it should print out a. What I neglected to mention was that another way to create a character, and the better way actually, is to use a character literal. And what is that? You just put single quotes and you type your character. So in this case, let's say A, and you say Shift F10, and this actually gives you the same result as inputting an int. Okay, so that buttons that up. And now let's move on to the main course of today's lecture. So let's basically close this. So let's say, for example, I have an int variable and I call it I, and its value is 100. Okay, now I create a byte variable, let's say B. Okay, and instead of putting 100 as its value, I want to assign the integer, because now I know that this int, its value is within the range of a byte. So I want to assign it to a byte, right? So now let's see what happens when I do that. So if you notice, the IDE has underlined this entire statement, right? And what is the statement? Basically anything that terminates in a semicolon, so, or a block like this. So what's happened here is this code is underlined, and let's mouse over it. So if you mouse over it, you see required type is byte, that's the left hand side, but you've provided an int. Okay, so another useful thing, and this is why I wanted you guys to use an IDE, whether it's IntelliJ or Eclipse or something else, is that it also provides you some sort of solution to your problem, right? So it says this particular thing, it says cast to byte. What does that mean? So first, let me just click on it and show you what's going to happen. So if you notice here, you've got this strange syntax which says I'm labeling the entire fundamental data type here, and I'm putting curly brackets, I'm putting parentheses around it, right? So what this tends to do is it takes the value in I, which in this case is 100, which I know is going to fit here, okay, and it makes it compatible with the byte data type by some hook or by crook, right? In this case, it's very clear. So if I print this out, so I say B equals plus B, I should get 100, right? So in this case, it's actually very clear. The value in I actually fit in byte, and I had to cast it because if you remember from the table in the Excel spreadsheet, an int takes up 4 bytes in memory, whereas a byte takes up 1 byte in memory. So this cast is actually paramount, right? What this cast is actually telling Java is that you as the programmer understand what you are doing. You know this value fits within the byte. So please do the needful, okay? Otherwise Java will end up complaining, okay? So this is the simpler case. Now let's do something different, right? Let's create another int, let's call it I2, but this time we're not going to give it a value which fits in a byte. So I'm going to say byte B2 equals, and now you know how to perform this cast. Basically the cast means take the bigger thing and try to fix it into the smaller thing. So you say byte and you say I2. Now here you would expect the IDE or Java or somebody to tell you that, you know, you've made a mistake because 128 certainly doesn't fit in a byte, right? So what we're going to do is, let me hide the console window. What we're going to do is I'm going to try to print this out and see what value we get for B2. Okay. And it's going to be weird. So watch for that, right? Now, if you notice down here, B2 has the value -128. It doesn't have a 0 or like, you know, anything that you may have, I don't know what you may have expected, but it has a value of -128, even though you've assigned it a value of +128. So actually, let's play this out a little bit and try this with 129, right? Again, let's run this. Now it's showing you a value of -127. So again, let's do it for a third time, because this is the same thing that will happen for int to short, or, you know, all these long to int, all these types of conversions. So I'm going to say 130 and print this out, and now you should say -126, right? Which is what you see here, right? So what exactly is happening and why is it happening? Okay, so the creators of Java said that if you give us this casting syntax, so if you write a statement and include this cast, we assume you know what you're doing. That means we assume that you know that I2 will fit within byte. If it doesn't fit within byte, we are not going to throw you an error. What we're going to do is we are going to overflow or wrap around the value that you have here and make it fit within a byte, right? So the actual technical term or the mathematical term is called modulo, but really the way I like to look at it is, so I'll just kind of draw this out here a little bit. So if you look at integers of a byte on a number line, you see -128, -127, -126, -125, comma, comma, 125, 126, 127, right? So this is the range, that is -128 to 127. Now I'm focusing really on byte and int, but this would be the same concept for short. So for example, if you took an int which was too big to fit in a short, this would actually be the same way it works, right? So the way modulo works is, if you look at this number is 3 greater than the largest number that you can fit in a byte. So it's 3 larger than 127. So all you do is you start here, then you wrap around, come here, and 3 is -128, -127, -126. So the value that the byte finally gets is minus 126, right? So if you print this out again, and you'll see this, right? So this is actually crucial to even being able to do simple mathematics or mathematical expressions, which we will come to later in another video, in any programming language. Actually, most programming languages. Some programming languages do point out this overflow and some don't. Java does not point out the overflow. Java will go out of its way to make your value fit within the range that you have, right? So again, let's do this simply with, let's say, for example, a short. So let's try this out and just make sure that it works with a short. So if I say a short and now I say I2, right? Here again you get an error, but this is not because I2 doesn't fit, or the value of I2, that is 130, right, doesn't fit in a short. It actually clearly fits in a short, but this, you're getting this error again because you're using a variable of a larger type, that's int, and you're trying to save it in a variable of a smaller type, which is short, right? So again, here you can either use this, or you can kind of actually just type it out yourself. So you can just say short, and now let's print this out. S equals plus S, right? And this should print out 130 perfectly, right? So here, this is what you get, right? So this, so just to button this up, let me go and do this and open up the fundamental data types, right? The largest short value is 32,767, right? So what we are going to do is we're going to say int I3 equals 32,768. Then we're going to say short S2 is equal to I3, right? Now this again is because I3 is an int, so we're going to cast it to short, right? So 32,768, and this is 32,767. So when we are doing these kinds of exercises, it is helpful for you to kind of also now think to yourself, what should be the value that will get printed out when we print this out, right? So let's say S2 is equal to plus S2, okay? And if you answered negative 32,768, which means if you answered that it wraps around, then that's the right thing, right? So this is actually how it would work for if you had to save a long value into an int, right? So this is actually how it always works. Now, another thing that is interesting to note is when you're dealing with decimal numbers versus integers, okay? So let's try to create an integer I4, okay? And let's try to give it a decimal point. So let's say 23.5, okay? Now here again, if you mouse over it, it clearly tells you the decimal number by default is double, which we discussed last time. That's too large. So I'm going to try to force the issue. I'm going to try to say, please cast it to an int and print out the value, right? So I4 equals plus I4, shift F10. And now if you noticed, it has truncated the decimal value or the floating point value double. Basically, it's removed the dot. Anything after the decimal point, it's actually removed it, right? And this would be the same if I put an F here, which means this is a floating, is a float literal. Again, the decimal point is gone, right? But what if I do it the other way? So for example, if I have a double D and I want to assign it a value of I, which is up here, which is 100, right? Now this is an int with a D. Now, if you notice here, there is no error because an int, which is 4 bytes, fits in a double. It's also less precise than a double because a double is a decimal point, so it's probably more precise. And so Java says there are no issues, and so I can actually just print this out. So I could say d equals plus d. And now notice though what Java has done silently for you, right? It's taken the value 100, which is an int, converted it to a double, which is 100.o, and then assign that value to d. So Java has actually done this sort of behind the scenes. So this is why it's actually quite important to pay attention to how you are assigning variables. When you are assigning literals, it's very clear because you know the number you are assigning it. But most of the time what you will do is you create a variable somewhere and then you keep assigning it to other variables of other data types. And when you do this, you have to be very careful as to whether the thing fits in the correct variable, whether if it fits in the correct variable, then that's fine. If it doesn't fit in, will it overflow, for example, in this case here, right? So you need to be very careful with all these things. And actually it's not that tough, but all you have to do is just remember some of the rules in this video and follow the rules, and then you should be set, right? So this is really what I wanted to talk about in this video. And in the next video, because you know now how to do this, we can actually move on to using variables of fundamental types in expressions. Okay, so see you in the next one.